30th of July 2023. This is one of that Warrafak moments, and the title is Maidan heating up. Now, my previous video that I did on Putin and the food, and in which I made the suggestion that farmers with children that want to farm should consider it to get those children out of the country and get them to a place like Russia or to Hungary, where they will be respected and where their skills is appreciated and where they can build a future for them and their children. Well, the reality is this level of racism is incredible, and the violence against our farmers is brutal and barbaric. The government is in denial about it, and MSM ignores it. AfriForum and those guys have been trying for years to get any recognition for the reality of that, and nothing happens. And on Saturday, the EFF had a gathering, and there was a lot of people. They guessed the crowd between 70 and 80,000. Now you must listen very carefully, that's a huge fucking crowd. Listen to what Malema said there.
Alright, Tamasa, Hullet, Kita, Kilame, Hirwatawata, Tamarumo, Rumo, Hasicha. Where were you when I'm sick? Where were you when I'm there? So far, sketchy. So far, sketchy. Etatin, Kichima. Sipram Konto Alliance. Shoot to kill. Kamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, brr, pa. Attention.
Now, if you do not see a threat and danger in that being said, you're blind. The first question you should ask yourself is, how can the President of South Africa allow that man to do that in public? The second question that you have to ask yourself, any black person that claims that he is intellectually above the mobs and that he is aware of realities of society, and he supports Malema, then you must understand that that guy himself is part and parcel of the problem. No decent person with common sense can support this thug. But listen to this. It was posted on Twitter earlier this morning by Mystery Network. Julius Malema singing "Kill the Farmers" with an entire stadium like an African Hitler. This is to incite civil war. There is no way the EFF has so much money to spend on such a polished propaganda stunt. Who is funding them? Victoria Newland has turned her attention to South Africa recently. Think about that and let it sink in. So, I am of the opinion that South Africa is heating up for a Maidan. Will this happen? In my mind, all the signs are there that it's going to happen. Am I reading the signs correctly? Could be. And I'm going to give those signs to you, and you can make your own decision. Think about it. Just listen and think. And there are people that claim that I piss off this young blacks by referring to the sausage generation. Well, what must I refer to? because it is a specific age group that is part of the cannon fodder that the XXX has bred for specifically this purpose. So, I'm sorry if you feel, if your feelings get hurt, if I refer to a group of people as the sausage generation. It's just a word. Why must it hurt you? The important question is, if it happens, could you survive? Now, before I'm told that I'm an old white racist that support the doctrine of swart gevaar, let me tell you this. There is a portion of the population that has a better chance to survive than the rest. The sad part is that racism has ensured that that part of the population will look after themselves. One thing is for sure, should it run into a scrap between BRICS and the West, when the dust settles, no matter which flag flies over Simonstown, there is not going to be much left of the country as far as structure is concerned. I have spoken about this many times. The West will not surrender the Cape Sea route without a fight. If they do, they are screwed. BRICS is a nuke to the West. This upcoming BRICS conference is a major thing. A lot of new nations will enter BRICS, and the BRICS currency will be on the table. These things will eventually destroy the death grip that the West have over the rest of the world. The West will try whatever they can to derail the BRICS conference. They usually screw a country with a color revolution or a Maidan. This depends totally on massive unrest. America uses the CIA and NGOs to stir up the unrest, and they are willing to spend millions of dollars to do it. Under Zuma, we got into BRICS. I am of the opinion that Zuma was a major problem for XXX for 3 reasons. 1, BRICS. 2, pro-Russian, anti-USA. 3, anti-XXX. XXX told us he had only standard 3, and they made a hell of a story about that, and you remember all the videos of him counting and reading numbers and shit like that. They also told us he was a polygamist, and that he allowed the Guptas to capture the state and stole money for his estate at Nkandla. Now, if I talk about the state capture with Guptas, I've got a question. And this question came up in one of the groups that I am. And the guy said, just explain to me, how is it possible for the president of the country to capture the state? He is the president. The state is his. This state capture shit is the same story that XXX and their media journalists spread about many things. White monopoly capital, by that implicating all whites, and crap like that. They are known for having these slogans that they run, and state capture was one of them. One of the activist weapons against Zuma was Julius Malema. Never forget that. Malema was the tool with which XXX went after Zuma. But back to today. Ramaphosa's instruction is to destroy the ANC and trash the Republic in the same way the USSR was destroyed. I've spoken about this in previous Skidmarks. For that mission, the critical state assets need to be privatized. To prevent resistance, all possible resistors must be neutralized. That is the security services, the army and police, and that was done effectively. because XXX saw in Eastern Europe that the army and police can very easily turn on them and stand with the people. In South Africa, they banked on low IQ to get that, what they wanted, and it worked. If Ramaphosa was en route to become a dictator, he would have seen in chapter 1 of Dictators for Dummies manual that it is vital to have a strong army and police. So, he doesn't have that. And that brings me back to my theory that he must destroy the ANC and South Africa as a republic. So any large-scale unrest, Ramaphosa will have very little resistance from security structures, and they did the test run in Zululand to prove this. Now you need to understand that XXX is long-term planners. They have that plan well thought out and have the patience to execute it meticulously. BRICS has thrown a spanner in their works, and now they need to adjust. They are not known to adjust easily. Adjustment means they miss something, and that infuriates them. Fury tends to make people act in panic. Acting in panic usually turns into a fuck-up. BRICS must be stopped or at least be derailed. That is the critical thing for the USA to retain their grip. Now the US is in a position where they are fighting for survival and will not care about the XXX plan. Ramaphosa needs to get Eskom into the hands of XXX, and the time is running out. So they are hammering us with load shedding so that we get so frustrated that we will accept privatization of Eskom without giving it a second thought, just as long as load shedding is gone. Will he make it before the USA triggers the Maidan? Time is running out. The US must act against BRICS and do it fast. How to start a Maidan? 1. Protests. 2. Rioting. This is easy. They have their poodle, well trained and proven to be effective. Malema will deliver the rioters very quickly. They have been bred for this and will run on command. Yesterday he gave his handlers a show. He fueled the racism fires and threw Ramaphosa to the crowd as a coward. Those idolating followers will pretty soon find out they are cannon fodder, while he will be safe and sound in his house in Sandton. 3. Clear failure of security forces to handle the unrest. And we saw that in the pre-run in Zululand. The security forces could do nothing. They were helpless against those protesters and rioters. What will a Maidan do? 1. Create the reason for foreign troops to come in as peacekeepers. Collapse the regime and lead to a balkanization of South Africa. Point number 1 is obvious. Point 2 is difficult. Who will be replacing Ramaphosa? That is a tough one, because their pet poodle, Malema, is not suitable. He is pro-Russian. The DA will suit XXX, but the optics in the US will be a disaster. Removing a black president and replacing him with a white president, that kite will not fly. So, point 3 is the logical choice. Lead to balkanization. What will point 3 achieve for the USA? 1. South Africa is out of BRICS, because which one of the resultant independent regions would have the legitimacy to validate their presence in BRICS? 2. The BRICS meeting will not take place in South Africa. 3. Isolation of the Cape and easy to take under control. Here they have a secret agent, Shitshot Johnny and his DA cadres. Why do you think they are lining us up for a Maidan? 1. That fake bomb scare. 2. The late night Russian flight to Waterkloof. 3. The Lady R debacle, well promoted and fueled by the DA. These 3 things was done to make the citizens suspicious. 4. The ICC warrant for Putin. Any clever lawyer will tell you it was bullshit. Thanks to the DA poodles, there was an enormous public response and pressure on Ramaphosa. Malema was very vocal and attacked Cyril like hell. This created more confusion in the mind of the public and is discrediting Ramaphosa. This is important because that will validate any peacekeeping action to remove Ramaphosa. Julius made sure that his brigade sees Cyril Ramaphosa as a coward, not fit to govern. 5. The Zuma appeal that failed. This was planned and the objective was to arrest Zuma shortly before the BRICS conference. We are all aware of the fact that such an arrest will trigger massive riots. But Putin saw this coming and pulled Zuma into Moscow. So what is left? In steps Victoria Newland. Mama Maidan. And you can go and do the research. Where this woman goes, riots, destruction and death follows her. This is her speciality. The regime changes. Okay, so all the required elements are in place for a Maidan. If that happens, the violence will be terrible. You may ask, where will the peacekeepers come from? Well, there's a US base in Botswana and a UK base in Lesotho, for a start. Plus, we have no idea how many US citizens are here and how much or what type of weapons are in the US Embassy in Pretoria. Rest assured that it's all planned for well in advance. The real nightmare for us, the citizens, is the fact that BRICS will not allow the US to take control of the Cape Sea route. I am sure Russia and China has plans for this. They know South Africa cannot defend their interest, and they will have to do it themselves. That will turn South Africa into a Sudan or Ukraine. The broad population is not geared to survive in such a scenario. The death toll is going to be horrendous, but the West do not care about that. They kill millions without blinking an eye. So, all of you that cheered Malema on Saturday, I hope you are ready for what may come. My tribe, the Afrikaners, stood up from the ashes after the Anglo-Boer War and built it back. Built that, what you black majority have so carelessly destroyed over the past 30 years. The question is now, will you, the majority, be able to do that, or will you wait for someone to come and do it for you? I'm confident BRICS will win the fight. And I'm sure they will bring skilled and disciplined workforces in to rebuild. What will you, the majority, contribute? Do you have skills to apply? We are where we are because you, the majority, fell for the XXX scam. You took the racism ball and ran without ever questioning where did that ball come from. But hey, Moses 6 verse 6, stupid people must suffer. And all I am asking you is think about the things I've said. Apply your mind. Look at what happened in Sudan, what happened in Iran, what they tried in Iran, what they tried in Pakistan. Actually got quite far in Pakistan. Got so far that Imran Khan was arrested and removed as leader. What they did in Ukraine, look what they did and what the results is. What they're doing in the Sudan now. And just add this in. The main reason for the unrest in Sudan is because of that naval base that the Sudan government agreed to for Russia. The US could not allow that to happen because that will give Russia a major control point on a very important trade route. Now think about South Africa and multiply it a few times, because there's a hell of a lot of traffic that's got to go past the Cape. Think about these things and then rethink this racism fuck up that is busy getting out of control with that militant Malema agent. He is an agent. His controller sits in London, Lord Renwick. But I cannot understand how you black people, you see what he does. You see who controls him. But yet you are willing to throw your life away on his command and instruction. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Ask yourself, has Malema created one job? One job. Has Malema inspired one investor to put up a factory that can employ 100 or 200 or 500 people? Ask yourself, what has he done to better your life, apart from whipping you into a frenzy and making you dance to a tune? What has he done to ensure that you can have a better future? That is the questions you've got to ask before you start seeing the praises of a leader. And yes, there's a lot of people that see that man as potential president of South Africa. Are you nuts? How can that be? Imagine him as sit at a table with President Putin. Just imagine that. But in any case, you've got more than enough to think about. Have a great evening. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.